Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, where shit hitting the fan is documented daily, so you know that you need to be prepared and you take all the steps necessary. Get others around you, friends, family, loved ones, co-workers, get them prepared. We've got one hell of a show coming, folks, and I don't mean that in a good way. I'm just going to go down the news list. I have not had time to study everything today. It has been, busy. Really busy, but that's okay. That's part of the thing, right? It's part of life, but it is also part of the SHTF shit show, where the government wants to gaslight us, lie to us, accuse us, attack us, punish us, everything to keep us off balance. So, this news story came out. Oh, by the way, Mr. Uman is down in the moderator's chair. He's got both joysticks going. Get your questions into the comments, and he'll make sure they're ready in the second half of the show when we do your questions. So again, I'm going to go right down. I've got everything listed out news-wise. It's just picking what I want. I just haven't had a lot of time to prepare. But hey, this is what we do, right? And in fact, if Mad Max happens, you're not going to have time to sit down and calculate everything out. You're going to have some written instructions, and you're going to have to improvise and understand what's going on, why, and how you can take action to protect those you love. So, lately, Israel, Mossad, and Talmudic Jews have been in the news, in social media. They're running scared for some reason. And so they're actually trying to get the government of the United States to make it illegal to criticize Israel or Jews or anything. Sorry, that's not how this fucking works, you bunch of ridiculous morons, right? We've got this thing called the Constitution. Anyways, the Jews, if you will, are being attacked on all sides now. They're being attacked by the Muslims, both physically and verbally, because they don't get along, and they never have. And then they're being attacked by leftist, communist, socialist types. And they're also being looked at and criticized. I won't use the word attack, criticized by the political Republican right. Because it is obvious now that AIPAC, the America-Israel Political Action Committee, and the Israeli government, and Mossad working behind the scenes to influence our government, its decisions, and what happens to me and you as taxpayers. So we're criticizing them. The left is calling them, they're calling the Jews genocidal maniacs, for lack of a better word, right? They're committing genocide. They're screaming that the Jews are creating their own Holocaust on the Palestinians, right? And so it's going crazy. But a huge teachers union tried erasing the Jews from the Holocaust. Well, you see, this is funny. This headline comes from a pro-Israeli publication. Well, in fact, I looked into this a little bit, and they're not trying to erase the Jews. They're trying to say that Hitler in World War II, during the time period known as the Holocaust, it was more than just the Jews who were killed, rounded up. And so it's not about history erasure, but we're seeing history revisionism. Someone's trying to rewrite history. I do not trust the communist socialists to rewrite it through their teachers' unions. I do not trust the American government to rewrite it. I'll trust and allow and believe anything that Israel has to say, or Europe, or Islam, or anybody. Right? I've done a lot of research for myself. I hope you have as well, to come to your own conclusions about how many died, where they died, etc. People are in jail in Europe, by the way, for researching this information, providing information, using witness testimony. In fact, people who are still alive from World War II that understand exactly what happened, they're in trouble because, well, you're not allowed to speak your mind or tell your facts or your truth. It's happening, folks. It's part of SHTF. It's the control of what you think and what you believe by telling you what has happened in the past. It's a big, big game. Now, with respect to global economics, the mainstream media has stepped into the ring. They want to become, well, they used to report the news. The president did this. The Congress did that. Country X did this thing over here. The European Parliament did this other thing. They used to report the news. Now it's all about opinions. In fact, from one of the most unreliable sources in mainstream media having to do with global economics, national economics, macroeconomics, microeconomics, Kramer the moron actually got so upset over Trump's trade deal with Europe that he dropped an F-bomb on live TV. Now, I have to say this. I believe that's a violation of the rules for airwaves. You're not allowed to do that. Well, people are losing their shit. They're coming apart. They're falling apart. They're going to pieces. And that drags me right back into the conversation we've had several times about people who have taken the Jim Jones juice. I think it is having a corrosive effect on people mentally. And I've got to tell you, this is my anecdotal testimony. And I want you to think about people that you know, whether you like them or not. Think about both groups. Think about how people think that you like and how people are thinking that you don't like. Are they incapable or less capable than they used to be with respect to recollection of facts, understanding current events, and coming to intellectual conclusions about what they knew, know, heard, and think? Today, once again, I was visited with some of the most ridiculous, nonsensical, illogical, irrational stupidity. And it comes from a person who decided to get the vaccine. Right? Doctors and scientists are now coming out saying it affects more than just your heart and your lungs. It's affecting people's ability to think rationally, and it's affecting them emotionally. And if they've lost the rational portion of their brain and they become upset, the mind goes to fight or flight because it senses danger. Once again, right? People fear what they don't understand. And so fear is the strongest motivator of them all, folks. This is a huge SHTF, Mad Max, danger zone thing to consider. People fear what they don't understand. People don't understand if their brain's not working right. They have a lowered capacity for data processing, recollection, storage, etc. So they move into fight or flight. If they choose to flight, run, well, problem solved. If they choose to fight, now you're dealing with an irrational, emotional person whose only response is to get violent. Stop right there with that. It is not going away. It's actually getting worse. Now, President Trump. I voted for him 3 times. I think many of us did because of a number of reasons. We're going to start with the simplest reason of all. He's the lesser of 2 evils. That's the one that a lot of people resort to. Well, I couldn't vote Democrat, so I didn't have any choice. The other reason I voted for him, not only was he the lesser of 2 evils, but he pissed off the Democrats. He pissed off the establishment in Washington, D.C. I found that to be an indicator that he's not one of them and that he, Donald Trump, might be on our side. Right? Number 3 is he made promises that appealed to my sense of morality, decency, righteousness, common sense, and what's good for America, right? Not the perfect candidate ever. No candidate ever is, except for maybe George Washington, right? Anyways, President Trump told us we'll have the Epstein files, the Epstein client list, and we're going to bring people to justice. And it doesn't matter who has to fall. We're going to fix this problem. We're going to release the list tomorrow. We're going to release the list next week. We're all over the top of it. We're reviewing the information. We need some time. We have to protect the innocent. This is a national security issue. It's a lot of work. It's difficult. We don't have the files. They're in New York. We have a truckload of files. They're on my desk. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it next week. I can't believe this. Here is a fake phase 1 list. You're not going to get shit. And then it was list. List is a hoax. Oh, what I mean is the Democrats doctored it. They forged documents. Yeah, that's it. Right? This is what we've gotten from the Trump administration. If I skipped a step, please excuse me. I'm trying to remember all the times we've been fucking lied to. Right? Then Trump says, release the list with the accurate, undoctored, right? In other words, the permissible information. We still haven't gotten that fucking list either. And now Trump is saying this, that Jeffrey Epstein poached or took women from Mar-a-Lago, people that worked at Mar-a-Lago, were around Mar-a-Lago, including the most famous Epstein victim of all, who is now dead. I believe her name was at the time Virginia Roberts. She now goes by, or she did go by, Virginia Giuffre. That may be her married name. Who is now dead. She was hit by a bus, almost died, started to recover, and then somehow committed suicide in the middle of all this. But she's not the only witness. She's not the only one giving out information, right? But she's dead. But Trump says that Epstein was taking women. Now, wait. Women is a term used to describe human beings with the XX chromosome, vagina, and breasts, right? Woman. But the victim known as Virginia Giuffre, she wasn't a woman. She wasn't a woman. She was a minor, a girl. And the word girl, of course, refers to an underage woman, a child. So Trump says Epstein took women from Mar-a-Lago, including Virginia Giuffre. Now, how does Trump know that? How does Trump know that Jeffrey Epstein took women from his property, trafficked them down to Jeffrey Epstein's little sex island for underage pedophilia? If he knew that, why didn't he turn him into the police? Who the hell allows that to? He doesn't say he poached a woman. He says he poached women, multiple. I think after the first time, you'd fucking do something about it, right? You'd say something. So in a way, President Trump is once again saying it's not a hoax. It's real. It happened. Epstein was real. Jizzy Maxwell is real. And by the way, another survivor, another witness, another victim has come forward and said, Jizzy Maxwell is evil. She's worse than Epstein. She raped girls. That's right. The woman raped girls. She didn't sleep with them. The mainstream media is trying to say, she slept with young women. No. She raped girls, little girls, underage girls. But Trump knew about this. It happened more than once, several times from his own property, yet he was allowed to continue. Trump just did it again. Is he losing his marbles? Who's writing his fucking speeches? Who's telling him what to say? Tell me, am I becoming smarter and you're becoming smarter and we're becoming smarter and Washington is becoming stupider? Or have they drank too much of their own Kool-Aid, smoked too many reefers with Snoop Dogg, snorted too much coke with Hunter Biden, and gotten too many jabs with Dr. Death Fauci, and their brains are cooking in sauce? Well, I guess we may never know. But let's continue with information that's come out just today. The governor of the state of Minnesota has activated the National Guard because of a cyber attack that hit St. Paul, Minnesota. I haven't heard anything from Tampon Timmy, Twinkle Toes Timmy Waltz, former vice president candidate for the Democrat Party under Camel Toes Harris. Last time he stuck his head out of his hole, it wasn't to see if we get 6 more weeks of winter. Last time he stuck his head out, whoops, we found out that there was a hitman that was hired, was killing congressional elected leaders, who also said after he was captured that he was supposed to kill Senator Amy Klobuchar, whatever the hell her name is, from Minnesota. Right? In other words, the governor put out a hit using a hitman to take out a senator so he could get her seat in Congress. And then the news just went away about Tampon Timmy. Fascinating, no? This guy forget that I didn't forget. I know you didn't. None of us forgot. This fucking guy has some serious crimes to answer for. He's been implicated in a lot of stuff. Now, politicians seem to think we're retarded. Bureaucrats seem to think we're retarded. We keep getting information from sources that remain anonymous, from sources that name themselves. The powerful elites in Washington, D.C., and the mainstream media have lost control of you and I. We think for ourselves. We were told that the FBI lost footage of Jeffrey Epstein's cell during those critical moments and minutes when he died, and that somehow 57 seconds just disappeared. Well, the Attorney General came out and said, well, the cameras reset and the system resets, and it's routine to lose minutes of surveillance. What the fuck is the point of surveillance if it just loses itself? Turns out she lied again, and it came out that no, it wasn't just 1 minute missing, it was 3 minutes. And yet again today, even more information has come out about the hoaxer Jeffrey Epstein, who was arrested for trafficking women to his island, to clients that no one can know the names of because it's too important to know who is paying millions of dollars to have sex with children and destroy their lives and kill them. So the FBI today, it's turned out, it is being alleged, does have the full Jeffrey Epstein, I killed myself in jail over a hoax, right? That video is in their possession. I don't doubt that at all. Why would I believe the FBI or the Attorney General? I don't believe, not at all. The mainstream media, folks, wants to lie right to our face. They want to piss down your back and tell you it's raining. They want to tell you that an obviously not white man was responsible for walking through the middle of a gun-free zone under camera carrying an AR-style weapon into a building, right? He's either Middle Eastern or he's North African, but he's definitely not a white man, right? And one police officer was killed, but he got killed on the 33rd floor. And a lot of people are like, this is a New World Order. I don't know. It's a weird way to send a message, to have somebody break a bunch of laws. And it's just, they're playing fucking games with us. They're trying to distract us. They're trying to lie to us. They're trying to hide something. Is it one of those things? Is it all of those things? I think it's all of those things. I think they're lying to us. They're gaslighting us. They're trying to confuse us. They're trying to overwhelm us. They're trying to fool us. They're trying to rewrite history. They're trying to rewrite facts. Remember Peter Strzok? Peter Strzok. Strzok. The evil elf. Remember him? That fucking guy from Congress? Right? He's an FBI agent. He has been deleting his tweets, his posts on X. And somehow they're also able to delete his tweets from long ago. Right? They have this Wayback Machine, this ability to look back and find tweets that were erased. What that tells me is that something is happening in DC, and the powers that be, the Russia collusion conspirators, which includes Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Comer, Brennan, Clapper, Susan Rice, Obama, they're trying to hide information. Ruby Rod Rosenstein, yes. They're able to go back on the records and erase everything. They're trying to erase Peter Strzok's existence. They'll probably do a better job on him than they did on Bob Lazar, who outed Area 51 in the late 80s and said, they have fucking alien spaceships in there, and I used to work on them. They came back and said, we don't know who you're talking about. That guy never existed. Yeah. Anyways, it's getting stupid. And I think, this is just a theory, Mr. Uman. I think that the government, including the Democrats and the Republicans and the bureaucracy and the mainstream media and Trump, they think we have all taken the Jim Jones juice and our brains are rotting away so badly that we can't think for ourselves and we believe all their bullshit. Not happening. That's why it's failing. That's why he's so fucking mad. He's like, why aren't these people more brain dead? It's incredible. So this pedophilia thing is not going away, and it shouldn't, because it's not an isolated incident. It's not an isolated event. It's not even an isolated place, right? A lot of Epstein's rapes, we've just discovered, started in Florida with his relationship with Trump and other big shots. The state of Florida, where Pam Bondi was attorney general and did nothing. Also in New York City, where Epstein had his palace. It's all over the place. And his little buddy, Jizzy Maxwell, daughter of the head of Israel's Mossad, the same Israel, and the same neocon Talmudic Jews, not good guys, same way the Chinese communists are not the good guys, but these Jews say, we're going to control America. You should hear the shit they say. They come right out and say, we control America. We control the president. We got dirt on everybody. That's how we do it. We're going to ruin them. We're going to take their money. They're fucking complete. They're insane. But anyways, Jizzy Maxwell, guess what? She was arrested for a hoax. She was tried for a hoax. She was convicted and sentenced for the hoax of Jeffrey Epstein's pedophilia fantasy island. Well, she is saying, look, I'll testify before the House Oversight Committee, but she's demanding immunity. And she's also saying, I've got a Supreme Court petition that I'm awaiting some judgment on. The committee is not considering granting immunity. Well, I tell you what, anytime you want to speak to the police or to Congress or any other body where you could be held accountable for perjury, you don't offer any testimony because you could incriminate yourself unless they grant you immunity, unless you're immunized. And I don't mean with the Jim Jones juice, but immunized so that you can speak freely. That still doesn't mean anything she say is going to be trustworthy. Everything has to be verified. But still, why would you trust her? How could you? It's a complete boondoggle, in other words, and it's not going to go away. It's not going to stop. It's going to continue. And what the fuck is Katy Perry doing hanging out and having dinner with Justin Turdhole, the, Canadian Prime Minister guy? I thought he was homosexual, based on the way he loves to hug and kiss on Emmanuel Macron. Anyways, we've got a bunch of trouble, folks. We've got a bunch of trouble with the deep state, the New World Order, the fourth turning, shit hitting the fan. It's unbelievable what's going on. And speaking of unbelievable, Senate Leader John Toon is not going to cancel the August recess and come in and take care of all of Trump's judicial nominees. Nope, he's not going to do what he said he's going to do, which was take care of business. Nope, changed his mind. Sorry, fooled you. Oh, wait, we weren't supposed to remember and recognize that. We weren't supposed to know anything. Well, let's leave that behind because, see, like I said, there's so much going on, folks, at every level. Local, state, federal, international, economic, political, criminal, war. Oh, war! Over in Ukraine, in Kiev. Sad news today. No. Nope. Voldemort Zelensky did not get assassinated. He didn't commit suicide. But he was given a handful of bad news that the EU, the European Union, has suspended all aid, which should include money, should include weapons. But they're saying all aid, which means everything. They're suspending all their aid to Ukraine because Zelensky is continuing to attack and go after and arrest and fuck with people who are part of the anti-corruption government, right? In other words, the police that are trying to police the most corrupt government in the world. This is amazing. Okay, so let me see if I can boil this down a little better. Ukraine is the most corrupt country on the planet. This is before the war even, meaning its politicians are for sale, its leaders are for sale, its police are for sale, everything's for sale. You can bribe, steal, cheat, extort, lie, murder, kill, whatever. They're fucking corrupt as fuck. And finally, right, after silencing, censoring, stealing people, putting them in jail, even murdering people, including Americans, Kiev still has an anti-corruption agency that is trying to stop corruption in a country that was built on corruption and CIA bullshit, right? Since 2014, since the Maidan revolt, which was a CIA operation to overthrow the legitimate government of Ukraine and install their own puppet idiots, which has culminated in a micro midget of a homosexual fruitcake who is not a military genius or a political genius or an economic genius. He was a BJ, work at the bus stop, belly dancing, gigolo, fruitcake, homosexual. I think we got that straight. So Ukraine is so bad and Zelensky is destroying it so bad that even the European Union says no more money for you guys. And the European Union is the same organization that is punishing member states for not allowing foreigners to come in, steal their social spending, take housing, take food, take money, and of course, commit all manner of crime, including burning churches, right? Harassing and assaulting people, destroying property, and of course, raping both women and little underage child girls. It's funny, the European Union is fine with all that, but they're not going to put up with anything coming out of Ukraine. Good golly, Miss Molly. And that, my friends, I chewed up my half of the show just talking about those few items, and there's so much more. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. So let's go to the inner circle and have some fun. These fucking people. Okay. Mr. Uman, do we have some good stuff out there? Okay, there we go. Uman's being positive. Best news I heard was that the Environmental Protection Agency is planning on eliminating almost all climate regulations relating to greenhouse gases, including cars, trucks, and the release of methane. The left is freaking out. This is astounding. The last 35 years, we've been putting up with all of this shit, starting with chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs. We were told, holy cow, they discovered a hole in the ozone layer that's over the middle of the Atlantic and the South Atlantic. Oh my God, we're destroying the atmosphere with CFCs, which is, well, chlorofluorocarbons. Well, the hole apparently is gone now. But what they did was they took the propellants out of spray cans when they started replacing it with propane and other gases. Anyways, then they put every fucking regulation on top of cars and trucks and semis, made them incredibly inefficient, hurt gas mileage. But hey, they emit clean air now. No, go suck on a tailpipe. Tell me how clean that shit is. Anyways, including the release of methane. Now, all of a sudden, greenhouse gases are good? Okay. Have we been lied to this entire fucking time? Well, I'll tell you what, in the 90s, back when I was a young man, listening to the dearly departed Rush Limbaugh, he brought up facts, even back then, with respect to who is damaging the atmosphere. What does the most damage? Well, chlorofluorocarbons, right? And he's like, well, one volcanic explosion, one volcano going off releases more chlorine and chlorine compounds like chlorofluorocarbons, right? Just CFCs and other chlorine compounds, as well as sulfur compounds, sulfur dioxide, sulfur oxide, sulfur this, sulfur that. Sulfur, of course, mixes with water, becomes acid. Acid rain. Remember that one. But he said, hey, when a volcano blows up, it releases more than mankind has ever released in one volcanic explosion. So it's like, well, why should we believe these people about our emissions, right? There's more carbon in the air. Well, wait a minute. Plants eat carbon. Of course, the left is going to freak out. They also don't like the fact that, but they've come around that, well, nuclear energy is the only way this world is going to survive. We need base load energy, and we can't get enough wind. Those fucking wind towers keep chopping birds to pieces. Oh, wait. I mean, we don't say that. I think it was in Scotland, the news story. Wind turbines, there's not enough wind for them to run on their own, so they have diesel-powered generators powering the windmills to turn the blades. So they cost energy. Aren't they supposed to do industrial wind tests to see if there's industrial grade wind in there? Nope, fuck it. Just put them up and we'll figure it out later. The left should be freaking out. Everything, yeah. Oh, hold on to that thought right there. Don't move that one. Yeah, they've been fucking lying to us about everything. And they're saying it's okay to release methane. Oh, deplorable Yankee redneck says, so cow farts are okay now. So what you're saying is Bill Gates's bovate or whatever the fuck chemical he has that's given to cows that messes with their digestive system so they don't produce cow farts. Greenhouse gases, methane, right? Everything's a greenhouse gas. Well, some are worse than others, John. Really? It's unbelievable. No, we still need to drug the cows, and cows are the problem. One volcano goes off, does a whole lot more stuff in the air than cows, including carbon and carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide and other noxious gases and poisonous gases and toxic gases. Cows are nothing, as far as I'm concerned, relative to the destruction of, well, nature's own destruction, or the destruction of Gavin Newsom in California, allowing all of the forest to burn whenever it's convenient for them politically. Uman says most of the cow emissions actually come from the suburbs. He's taking a shot at large.
I'm sorry, that came out wrong. It should be burps.
It should be butts.
Burps. Belching.
Burps. Most of the cow emissions actually come from burps. Cow burps.
Yep.
I've got an opinion there. Of course I do. Cow burps, huh? So a cow chews grass. And enzymes in the cow's stomach wait for the grass to come down. They mix the enzymes and it starts digesting the grass. Some gases are released. Those gases are methanes, right? Which is a hydrocarbon, like propane, methane, gasoline, diesel. Those are all from very short to long chain hydrocarbons. They're flammable. Well, the cow isn't doing anything that nature doesn't do by itself. So if the cow didn't eat that mouthful of grass, chew it up, release some gas, and then go to the second stomach, release some gas, the third stomach, release some gas, the fourth stomach, cows have a stomach with 4 compartments, and then shoot that grass into its intestines and then fart some additional methane. Essentially, what the cow can't turn into energy, so the cow lives and gets bigger and puts on nice, tender, delicious muscle for us to snack on. Right? That's stuff that cannot be used. It's methane, it's gas, it's extra. But if the cow did not eat that pile of grass, all the hundreds of piles of grasses, all the grass does is grow, get green, get old, drop its seeds, fall over, and die. Akuma Matata, the circle of life. It doesn't take a cow, and the grasses, we've seen them. They turn brown, they get kind of thin and brittle, they fall apart, they disappear. Kind of like your grass clippings when you mow your lawn. Shit turns brown, kind of falls in the grass, disappears. Does it really disappear? Is this a fucking magic act? Or is the natural action of microbes, aka bacteria, it's chomping and chewing on the grass and releasing methane and hydrocarbons? In other words, one way or the other, it's going to turn right back into fucking methane and hydrocarbons. So what's the difference? Why blame the cows? It's the grass that's the problem. But what do I know, right? I just attended high school and used my fucking brain. I didn't need a college degree to figure out that these politicians, all they want to do is tax, regulate, control, and condemn us. All righty, Mr. Uman, who do you want to put up next? Oh, it's our friend Redneck Roughneck. And he says, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, old communist white guy, has multiple houses, millions of dollars, but I did it all on my little government salary. Never worked a day in my life. Visited communist Soviet Union. I love that place. Food lines are good. Bread lines are good because you can't get in trouble or do any crimes if you're having to wait in line for the government to give you the little bit of food that you get. Hate that fucking guy. Bernie Sanders is running a national training camp tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time so they can remind Trump what democracy is about. Sounds like maybe a socialist indoctrination. Say it isn't so, Roughneck. That's exactly what it is. I read something interesting the other day. It's a statistical thing. Relative to the boomers, remember you got the boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, centennials, whatever, right? The boomers have this level of conservativeness, right? Constitutionality. Apparently, Gen Z is even more conservative than even the boomers. Hey, boomer, remember that bullshit? Blaming the boomers for everything. You boomers, you had it easy. Right? No, they had to work jobs too. You guys could buy a house for $20,000. Yeah, but you only made $1,000 a year. These fucking kids. Anyways, it turns out that these kids, my kids, your kids, our grandkids, are turning out to be fundamentally far more conservative. Even though they've got all of this socialist indoctrination that Redneck Roughneck is referring to. They're continuing to push the indoctrination. Grade school, high school, university, mainstream media programming, political programming, music programming, right? Everything, social media is all geared pushing socialism. It's not being accepted. And now you have a little bit more information and understanding as to why the federal government wants to bring in illegals from other parts of the world so that they've got a voter base that isn't going to abandon them. A lot of these young kids have decided and learned that socialism shit don't work. It's not helping me. Calling Trump or the Republicans fascists hasn't fixed anything. And I think that they're starting to realize all of Washington, D.C. is the problem, not the people. In any event, yeah, Bernie Sanders. Thank you, Redneck Roughneck. Haven't gotten to do my Bernie impression in a while. He's a hell of a guy. No, he's not. He's a fucking lying moron. All right. Thank you, Redneck Roughneck. Who do we have up next? Who has something to say? Mr. Diving Frog would have something to say, of course. And I want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please share the internet address, share the X address, share everything. Get the word out. People need to wake the hell up. So Diving Frog says, John, I think we're finally at the point that we need to take a gun just to go grocery shopping. My predictions for the next year are that Trump destroys his reputation beyond repair, and Diddy gets Arkancided and violence amps up threefold. Let's go back and start with the first statement. You need to take a gun just to go to the grocery store. Yes. To fill up your vehicle with gas. Yes. Or charge your electric vehicle. Yes. Go to a shopping mall. Yes. I take mine to go to work, to go to the office, to go to the field, to go shopping. In my home, on my bunker, I have weapons around me because you never know when one of these left-wing lunatics is going to lose their shit. Whether they have a legitimate complaint or they're just having an emotionally rough day. Right? Oh, it's incredible. I mean, these people are they're losing. They're so fucking crazy. that an attractive young white woman wants to get paid as a model to work for a clothing company and be the model in their advertising for their clothes that they want to market to whoever wants to be marketed to, I guess. They're throwing a fucking absolute shit fit. They're getting close to violent over whatever the fuck her name is, and I don't care. I've seen lots of boobies in my life, lots of buns, lots of pretty faces and hair, and who cares? But I don't want to see someone modeling something. I don't want to see a model with purple hair and a fucking bull ring in their nose. Someone with giant slobbish jelly rolls hanging out over the top of their pants. I mean, we used to call them mushroom tops or something, but now they just look like fucking Jabba the Hutt. But the left is losing their shit, and they're getting violent. They're attacking people in public now, verbally attacking people. Anyways, you are correct. Take a gun everywhere and everything you do, because you never know when they're going to lose their shit over the slightest thing. They're calling this girl, I don't, if you got her name, man, you can tell me. They're calling her a Nazi and a racist because she's white. Sydney Sweeney, thank you. Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle, which is the clothing line, ad is part of an unbridled cultural shift toward whiteness. No, it's not. She's a fucking model trying to make money. A clothing company trying to sell clothing. Good golly. Leaning over the hood of a white Mustang sounds pretty normal to me. Sounds like every poster I had on my wall growing up as a kid. Or lying on the floor holding a long-haired German Shepherd puppy. Oh, she had a puppy. How? At the end of each video, an off-screen voice speaks over blocky letters declaring that Sweeney, blonde, blue-eyed, white, has great genes, with the word jeans crossed out and replaced with jeans. So, they brought genetics in it, which, of course, that makes it racist to talk about genes, right? And I love the very fact that all of the intelligent people of color, meaning black, brown, whatever the fuck, commentators, social media people are coming out going, who cares if she's white? She's good looking. She's a model. They're sick and tired of the color game, the race game, right? We're supposed to, black is beautiful. Okay, well, lots of colors are beautiful. So what? Right? White lives matter. Oh, how dare you? You're a racist. Only black lives matter. No. These fucking people have lost their shit. Is there any chance we can go back to Diving Frog stuff? Sydney Sweeney. I can't remember. Here we go. Nope, that wasn't the one. Here we are. Excellent move. Right. His predictions, Diving Frog's predictions. Trump destroys his reputation beyond repair. That's a good prediction. Based on what he's done since he was inaugurated, he's continuing to do that. In fact, today I cataloged yet one more stupid move, admitting that Epstein was at your property, poaching girls, stealing girls, kidnapping girls, grooming girls, inviting girls to his island. Yeah. And Trump doesn't know whether his shitter got off the pot. I knew the guy. I didn't know the guy. I got rid of the guy. Wait, he was my best friend. No, he's not my best friend. That's what his brother says. But then there's all this other, right? Yeah, he's doing a great job of that. And Diddy, as in Sean Puff Daddy P. Diddy Combs, gets Arkancided. Suicide, Arkancided. And the violence is going to amp up threefold. I've been waiting for the violence to amp up. Not a mass shooter here and a mass stabber here, but rather full on mob gang violence from the left. Waiting for that. I think that is coming still. And again, let's cover the groups that are capable and demonstrated through both current, I'm going to say, malice and rhetoric, as well as their historical precedent they've set. Antifa, They're anti-fascist, except they are sponsored by fascists in the government and non-government organizations. Oh, and the media and non-government organizations are very sad they're losing USAID money. In other words, your tax dollars are not funding your own fucking destruction anymore. That was a good thing Trump did. Good. Better fucking stick, huh? Anyways, we've got Antifa. Then you got Black Lives Matter, which is actually a group started by homosexual and transgender communist blacks. They were violent. You've got all the pro-Palestinian people, many of the same people as the other two groups, but, you know, they're their own thing also. And then you have the true non-American Muslim immigrants who hate this country, who are here as part of a long-term invasion program that Islam is famous for and has been, I don't want to use the word guilty of committing, consistently over history practiced this idea of moving into an area, proliferating their population through further immigration, as well as having children after children after children, as many as they can, until they have a big enough base that they can become violent. Interesting predictions, Diving Frog. We'll see how this all works out. Mr. Uman, where do we want to roll next? I'm having just a hell of a time with this. Uh-oh, he's got a good one. He's giving me the finger and not the bad finger. Deplorable Yankee Redneck says, a gun is like the American Express card. I never leave home without it. Yeah. There was a comedian in the 80s who had a knife, and that was his Mexican Express card. He never leaves home without it. Does everyone remember that comedian's name? And anyways, yeah, a gun is your first line of defense. A gun is an equalizer for a woman of any size to be able to defend herself against any woman or a man of any size. The gun is the equalizer. And it's a right to own any arm or weapon, if you will. So I think that means knives, swords, bows and arrows, crossbows, handguns, rifles, shotguns, whatever you can afford. You should have some form of protection. And I think that includes bear spray, pepper spray, chemical sprays, right? Anything you can to defend yourself. Don't ever leave home without some way to defend yourself. You could be stopped in traffic by Antifa, pro-Palestinian terrorists. You name it, you can get caught anywhere, at the store, in your car, at school, at work. And when it happens, if you don't have it, you can't do a timeout. Hey, timeout. I need to go back to my house, pick up my gun so I can come back here and kill you people properly. Nope. You need to be prepared at all times. Just like if, an earthquake happens. You can't go, timeout, earthquake. I got to go to the store and make sure I got enough stuff. Enough fuel, enough food. Nope. It's not how it works. All right. Thank you, Mr. Redneck. Very quickly, Jasmine Crockett, ghetto whore representative, Democrat from the Dallas, Texas area, says that she should lead the House Oversight Committee. She just makes a statement. Not because she's brilliant, not because she's black, but because she has a huge social media following. That's representative government, right? These people are absolute fucking morons. Okay, man, let's get back on the train with you guys. Who's up next? We got Governor JB Prickster. I'm sorry, BJ. Well, I mean, I was trying to make it sound like he isn't a blowjob master himself. Looks like he swallows everything, and I mean everything. Anyways, Governor BJ Prickster just signed a Safe Storage Act, so we have to keep them guns all locked up now. They have that in California. You have to have a gun lock on the trigger. Ammo needs to be stored separate. It's got to be in a safe. What better way to be murdered in your own house than to not have access to your gun in a moment's notice? I know a lot of states have that type of rule or rules to that effect. You have to keep your gun safe from kids. No. I train my kids to be safe with guns. I don't need to keep my guns locked away so my kids get scared when I take it out because they're like, oh my God, why are you taking that out? You know, I feel scared because my teacher said guns are bad. No. You know, I had my first BB gun at age 4, right? Rifles and other things at the appropriate ages, all legal. But I got to tell you, it's just, you teach your kids. Anyways, it's fucking stupid. It's more socialist, cradle to grave bullshit and a way to disarm people and make them more easy to victimize. Once again, a problem comes. This is a burglar. I'd like to break into your house. Can you come open the door and let me in so I can assault you, rape your wife and daughter, steal all your money, and steal all your shit? No, they don't ask permission. They kick the fucking door down. They run in the house. They start screaming and yelling, right? And you don't have time to go to the safe, figure out the fucking combination at 2 a.m, right? And then go, where the fuck is my ammunition and the magazines that I store separately? And how do I get this trigger lock off? And where did I put the fucking key? No. Right? Uman says it's for the safety of the peasants, of course. Oh, and the children. As he releases gun offenders and violent sexual offenders back into the community on Safety Act pre-trial release. If I was a criminal, folks, and I wanted to be a criminal and get away with it, I would want to live in a place like England or even America now. Certain states, of course. Because I want to be guaranteed that if I decide to commit a crime, the person I'm going after will not be able to defend themselves. And if I'm caught, the government's going to let me go. That's what I want. I want a country that does. So you go to England, you're not allowed to defend yourself. Not even with you can't defend yourself with a gun because you're not allowed to have them. You're not allowed to defend yourself with a knife. You're not allowed to defend yourself, period. You have to let someone just beat the ever-loving fuck out of you. Literally. Not a joke, folks. Not an exaggeration. You are not allowed to fight back. If you fight back against a criminal, you will be arrested, charged, prosecuted, tried, and thrown in fucking jail in England. What a great place to be a criminal. United States, or at least these communist fucks like BJ Prickster, they're pushing for it. They're pushing for it. They're pushing for it. Unbelievable. Thank you, Mr. Uman. You know, Senator Hawley, United States Senator Hawley, he thinks that artificial intelligence and big tech has an agenda, and that their agenda is for us to be digital slaves. Oh no, big tech and artificial intelligence are tools used by government to make us their slaves through a digital process of listening to what you write, listening to what you say, and then having access to your funding bank accounts through a central bank digital currency, CBDC, so they can punish you for wrong think and wrong actions, making you their slave. This whole idea that artificial intelligence is going to do it on their own, and Google and Facebook and Instagram and yes, X and YouTube and Google and Yahoo and whatever the else what this is and what we discovered, and this will be the end of the show for today. What we've discovered is that the United States government, its deep state operatives, bureaucrats, elected politicians, even judges, have worked with and rewarded the makers of artificial intelligence and the creators of big tech social media. They've gone through offshore non-government operations and funded them and told them, this is what we want you to do. Joe Biden's entire administration was about silencing you, us. So we couldn't argue with them. And it's been exposed. Zuckerberg should be in prison. George Soros should be in prison. Pelosi should be in prison. Chuck Schumer should be in prison. So many of these fucking people should be in prison. The people that run Google, that run YouTube, that run or ran Twitter before it became X, that Jack Dorsey dipshit, Weasley-looking fruitcake of a gnome should be in prison for what they did to us. They lied to us and then punished us for telling the truth and then told us to shut up. Yeah, digital slaves. How did they punish us? Canceling bank accounts, canceling your ability to speak, canceling other people's ability to hear what you have to say. You and I have all been victimized by these people and the government. Of course, Senator Hawley, a United States politician, is going to blame artificial intelligence, which is programmed by somebody. Big tech, big social media. They work hand in hand. And now the government's pretending like, oh, we didn't have nothing to do with that, and we're going to stop these bad guys. I hope you're prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. You guys, I will see you tomorrow, 0:30. Please get prepared and share this video with everybody you see, because it's just that important. It truly is. God bless America. Semper Fi means always faithful.